We talked about speculation yesterday. Bitcoin, Solana, XRP, Ethereum, they all dropped 5% in 30 minutes yesterday. Just, I mean, it almost looks, on the chart, it looks like a complete crash out, right? In stocks, we call it a liquidity sweep, where basically you're basically searching for buyers, and you just never, you never find the buyers until you're like 5 or 8% down, right? But this is what I'm going to say about Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, Solana. You know, a lot of people are building things on top of Solana, top of XRP, top of Ethereum. Bitcoin's the one that's worth the most because it's the one that's, supposedly not controlled by anybody. But this stuff has high volatility. It has high volatility because, there's really no worth to it right now, right? It's all speculation that it will be worth something one day, right? And so, that creates high volatility. If somebody needs capital, whether it is to live or whatever, this thing is just run up. This thing, Bitcoin was all the way down to $10,000 a couple of years ago. I think it was the low of this year, 60,000, and it was sitting in the 120s, right? It was obviously going to pull back, right, at some point. And how far it draws down, no one really knows. I think it's going to draw back down into probably the 80,000, 90,000 range. That would be my guess. But obviously, the price of Bitcoin has made it where Bitcoin is no longer viable as a regular everyday person. You can still get Ethereum as a regular everyday person. You obviously can still get Solana, XRP as a regular everyday person. But to me, something that's $100,000, nobody's going to be able to afford that, right? As a regular person, right? So that's the Bitcoin's basically for the elites. And if you're sitting there stacking $5 worth of Bitcoin every week, that's cool. But obviously, it can still 10x from 100,000 to 1,000,000 or whatever they say it's going to go to. But 10x of $5 is only $50, and you can get that every day in the stock market. So, just my opinion, I'm probably going to look back in history and be like, oh, I should have bought some Bitcoin. But like I say, I don't do speculation, right? I do, automatic stuff, right?